This is a response to the concurrent debate about collectivism and individualism. Iron sharpeneth iron. So, I might as well chime in. Let me start by insinuating that belief, based on philosophies, indoctrinations, and ideologies, are centrally based on generalizations, in which the pedagogue and adopters of such philosophies conveniently and rather ostentatiously maneuver around when facing reality. As such, it becomes an enigma to comprehensively draft a resolution on dichotomous issues of collectivism and individualism. From my perspective, the concepts of collectivism and individualism are not as mutually exclusive as propagated, as these principles are in fact very interwoven and intertwined. This is indeed factual, because everyone, regardless of ideological affiliation, is still also individualistic in existence, since each person is a single entity, hence providing the room for individualism in one's personal life, or in one's liaisons with immediate, cordial entities. But in juxtaposing the argument, it also becomes apparent that perpetuation of inculcated indoctrinations of individualism in the real world will have to be discarded, especially when relating to one whose philosophies are not concordal with that of the individualist. A good illustration, in buttressing this argument, presides at the workplace. A person that has inculcated individualism will be constrained in manifesting his individualistic ideologies, since the status quo of the modus operandi in effect is most unequivocally dictated by the boss, regardless of how unconventional it is relative to your ideologies, especially since the prevalent principle at the workplace is constructed around a subgenus of collectivism called division of labor. Hence you cannot have it your way, like Burger King. And that is not to reprimand individualism or advocate collectivism. It just protrudes the disparity between theory and reality and how ostentatious generalizations can be. Furthermore, absolute individualism can only be accomplished in a habitation paradigmed after the unaccomplishable utopia, or by one whose habitation is defined by isolated existence. Hence, you can have it your way, like Burger King, when you're on your own, like Mommy used to say. Similarly, absolute collectivism can only be accomplished in a setting like the anthropological hunter and gatherer society of the Ice Ages, dominated by reciprocity, since collectivism presents the most unequivocal avenue of survival and philoprogenitiveness. Therefore, we are here today because of the collectivism adopted by our Homo erectus predecessors. Otherwise, we hominids would have become extinct, like the more individualistic Neanderthals. Today, what we practice is selective individualism or selective collectivism, because we tend to contort ideologies based on conveniency or their catering to our varying situations and insatiable needs. But, in all sincerity and practicality, even though we practice selective individualism and selective collectivism, the pendulum mostly tilts towards collectivism because it provides the most efficient way of achieving optimum productivity. Vehicles are manufactured collectively, not individually. Buildings and bridges are constructed collectively, not individually. Technological infrastructures and amenities are achieved collectively, not individually, and so on. Hence, even the most diminutive of innovation is only or most effectively achieved by collectivism. Of course, with a few exceptions and anomalies. In essence, collectivism prevails on most issues that pertains to survival and development, while individualism prevails on issues of self-help, self-growth, and other disciplines that pertains to individuals. Nonetheless, selective individualism coupled with selective collectivism, presents the most optimum of efficiency for our modern lives today. With the bearing, more collectivism inclined, of course. In conclusion, I would like you to know that theory promulgates the extreme dichotomy of collectivism and individualism. But reality dictates that collectivism and individualism are not as disconnected or mutually exclusive as propagated, but that in fact each ideology has profound elements and fabrics inculcated and ingrained into the other, hence making them interwoven